Washington football. Woo! Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Burgundy Zone. I am your host, Kyle, and I am joined by my co-host, Michael Hall. We are joined by a very special guest for the first time ever, Mr. Darren Hayes, 9-time Emmy Award-winning sports director and anchor, currently working for CBS WUSA 9. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, Darren. How are you doing?
Man, I appreciate you for having me, man. I like the setup there. I like what you have there, and I see you're rocking. It's the old name, but that's that warm-up gear the team used to rock. I used to always go to one of the trainers and be like, hey man, can I get one of those hoodies? That's a good one you have there.
Hey, I appreciate that, dude. It's one of my favorite sweatshirts. Now, Darren, the first question I have to ask for you, because the big news coming out of Ashburn today was that Curtis Samuel is good to go. Ron Rivera said he is likely to suit up on Sunday. So my question to you, what are you kind of expecting out of Curtis Samuel? What is he going to bring to the offense? And do you see him getting a lot of production?
Man, that's a great question, because obviously we've been waiting literally all season to see what we're going to get from Curtis Samuel. And obviously we signed him to that contract, a big-time contract, to come here to help out Terry McLaurin. And obviously that groin injury has really set things back. So when I was watching Curtis Samuel, I mean, he was going through his normal routes and stuff like that. He looked like he was absolutely fine. However, what concerns me was we thought he was looking fine until he had that little tweak a couple weeks ago before they put him on the IR. So I'm just thinking, yes, we're going to see Curtis Samuel out there, but are we going to see him as much as we would like to see him, or as much as we expected through early in the season? No, I don't think so. I think this is one of these things where you're going to have to gradually get him in the ballgame. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not head coach Ron Rivera, but if Curtis Samuel goes out there and he catches a 30-yard pass, then he runs a 45-yard reception, stuff like that, you keep him in the ballgame. But I think they're going to probably try to work him in slow. But it's good to see him back on the field. Yes, sir. Because, God, dog, we were wondering if we're ever going to see him on the field.
Right.
No, 100% agree. I definitely think just him being on the field is definitely going to just space things out for the offense a little bit more, open up a little bit more lanes for a guy like Antonio Gibson. And speaking of Antonio Gibson, he's been questionable throughout the week. He's questionable going into the game. If he can't go, do you have faith in J.D. McKissic and J.D. Patterson to kind of pick up the slack? And do you think the running game will be effective against Atlanta?
So I do have faith in J.D. McKissic, or of course Jared Patterson, a guy who I think deserves that chance sometimes to get the rock a few times to see what he can do in the game, because we saw what he did during the preseason. However, I will say this, because shout out to J.D., shout out to Jared. Antonio Gibson is a different individual. This is I'm still blown away that the fact that the guy was a college receiver and they moved him to the running back position. Like I was a running back, and I can't imagine a receiver coming in and taking my spot. So he's a different type of breed. So yes, I do have faith in some of those other guys, but do I feel like they'll make the impact like an Antonio Gibson? No, there's a reason why he starts. There's a reason why he's the number one back, because what he can do running the ball and what he can do catching the ball out of the backfield. We just got to work on his blocking.
Yes, and I totally agree with that. Now, Ron Rivera came from the NFC South. He knows Matt Ryan very, very well. Played him every single season, obviously, being in the same division. So my question to you, Darren, with Ron Rivera's kind of knowing of what Matt Ryan kind of basically is at a professional quarterback, is that an advantage for Washington, or is it an advantage for Atlanta knowing the kind of defense Ron Rivera likes to play?
Ooh, so I have this segment on my show called Keep It Real, and so I'm going to keep it real on this one. I hope Ron Rivera can, obviously you get your scouting report, they do their normal stuff. They need to worry about themselves more than what Matt Ryan's probably doing, and worrying more about themselves than maybe what Atlanta knows about Ron Rivera, because obviously what the defense is doing right now is literally diddly squat. And so they need to make sure they try to get back to what they did last year. Maybe it'll help them out, but I mean, how effective are you if you don't get to the quarterback?
Right.
And then you look at the defensive side. I mean, Jack Del Rio is the main guy. You know, it's not necessarily Ron Rivera. So maybe they have a little advantage there, but we live in the day and age where these teams have tapes of everybody. And I think that's also a reason why we see like a guy like Chase Young or Montez Sweat not really being effective as they were last season, because now they have tape and film on these guys and they know how to stop them. Why there's a lot of pressure on like a guy like Chase Young to give me more than one move, do something different, because the film is saying, okay, you're going to do this move every single time. Well, let's block you this way so you don't get to the quarterback, because we know you're not going to do anything different.
No, 100% agree with that. And with that being said, on the defense side of the ball, this has been a Atlanta offensive line that's kind of shuffled some guys here and there. They got a rookie starting, I think, at right tackle. They've had injuries on the line as well. Do you think that this is going to be a get-right game for the defensive line and the defense as well?
Give me that question again, Mike. Say that again.
With a lot of guys being shuffled around the offensive line, do you think this is going to be a get-right game for the defensive line, guys like Montez Sweat, Chase Young, and for the defense as a whole?
I really feel that way. So when I was talking to Chase Young, I was like, are you pissed off at all? Do you feel like this is this game where you're just going into it angry? And he says no, but I think there's that pressure in them, and they know this is not a team that's 3-0. I mean, this is an Atlanta Falcons team that has struggled just like Washington, where it puts you, it's basically like a platter. This is gonna put the platter out there for you to have like that game where you can finally get to the quarterback. So I think this is gonna be one of those games where we can. I mean, I'm gonna call it out right now.
Do it.
If Chase Young does not get a sack against the Falcons, I'm hooking y'all up with lunch.
Hey. Oh, my man. Hey, I love that.
I'm hooking y'all up with lunch, but it's a $40 limit.
That won't be an issue at all, Darren. I love the confidence. And speaking of, the next question I have for you is regarding the Taylor Heinicke. Ron Rivera talked about in his press conference this week that got a lot of rave reviews about it, but he's basically saying he wanted to see Taylor kind of have the game manager role as the quarterback position. He brought up Tom Brady, knowing where the outlets are. But in your opinion, what does Ron Rivera mean by that? And do you think that Taylor is capable of having that deep downfield threat, but being able to manage the game?
So to answer your question, both. Yes, I think he can be that game manager. He can also be that guy who can throw the ball deep. What Ron Rivera really wants Taylor Heinicke to do is he wants him to still stick with that kind of killer mentality, that guy who kind of goes out there with literally like a fire under his butt to try to make plays happen. However, he wants him to then manage the game, because we saw Taylor Heinicke kind of pushing it too much against I just went blank. It wasn't the Giants, who they just lose to.
The Bills.
Buffalo.
Yeah, the Bills. Like we saw him trying to push it a little bit too much while he threw some of those interceptions. So I think that's where he wants Taylor Heinicke to be more of that manager, to take what the defense gives you. Don't try to be too aggressive where you're trying to be greedy and trying to force something where you can get a quarterback intercepted. Where you can get intercepted. And then Ron Rivera also mentioned this part as well. Like, the dude has only started 4 NFL games.
Yeah.
So think about it. Think of any type of high profile number 1 overall pick coming out of college, only playing 4 games. Like, you're going to still have growing pains. So look at it like a Taylor Heinicke. He's still going to go through those growing pains. But I will say this, though. Like, I love Dwayne Haskins. That's my dog. That's my boy. But I was thinking the other day, I was like, man, like, out of the 4 games, I kind of like Taylor Heinicke, what he's bringing to the table than what Dwayne Haskins was.
Right.
It's amazing how that works, right?
Right.
Yeah, no, 100% agree with that. And speaking of growing pains, this secondary, they've had a little bit of some growing pains the first couple of weeks of this season. And now you got a guy like Benjamin St. Juste is going to be out in concussion protocol this upcoming week. How do you feel about a guy like Darrell Roberts or Terry McTyer stepping in the secondary? Do you think that they're going to be able to hold down a guy like Kyle Pitts and Calvin Ridley as well?
All right, this is one of those again, like yes and no. So McTyer, I love the way he plays, and I think sometimes when you get somebody who now has to step up, like next man up, this may be one of those opportunities where Cameron Curl came in.
Jeremy Reeves, Reeves.
When they get that opportunity and now they can really shine. So I'm going to give my love to him to feel like he's going to fill in that void really well. But a lot of it really comes back down to that defensive front, you guys. To apply that pressure. And when they're not applying that pressure, it's easy for a quarterback to just nitpick your DBs like that. I wasn't a college defensive back. I was a running back, but I played it in high school. You can lock up a man for a particular time, but the game changes when you can get a pass rush. If you can disrupt that quarterback, even a guy like Tom Brady will struggle. And so if they don't get after Matt Ryan, it will be a long day for the defensive backs. If they get after Matt Ryan, you can see much more success. Watch if they get after him. Watch if Chase Young gets that sack like I was talking about to get you guys lunch. You'll see the DBs playing a lot better than they have in previous weeks.
Yeah, 100% agree with that.
Yeah, and the Atlanta defense, well, for the film that I watched, Darren, they look fast, they're swarming, and they're violent. That being said, we know who they have on defense. Deion Jones, a very good linebacker. Grady Jarrett, one of the better defensive tackles in the league. We have a former Washington player in Fabian Moreau playing at cornerback. How do you think that this Washington football team offense should tack this defense?
I think they need to stick to what they normally do. I think the offense that they have, they put up the points. If you think about it, I mean, they put up more points against the Bills than any other team so far this season. So I think what they're doing offensively, which was the difference from last year when they first got it started, because you're wondering, like, what the heck is Scott Turner doing? I think the offense needs to stick to what they're normally good at, and I think they will be effective. It just goes back down to that defense, man. I apologize. I got to keep going back to it, but
it's important.
Raise your hand if you're frustrated with the defense. You know what I'm saying?
Put up two.
Like, just think about it though. Like, from what Washington put up last week, like, that could win a lot of ball games.
Yep.
And the Bills have one of the best defenses in the league.
They're averaging 30 points a game right now, the offense is, to your point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look, who would have thought going into the season that you'd be saying, well, the offense needs to, like, or the defense needs to pick up the slack because the offense is carrying the team right now. But it's 2021, it's the NFL season, but anything can happen any given Sunday. And speaking of that,
but it's not 2020. It's COVID. Everything's been going crazy since COVID. You win the division with a losing record. You know. You know what I'm saying? Like, now the defense is supposed to be the best. Now they're playing like one of the worst. It's COVID, man. It's a pandemic.
I 100% put it on that. And getting on this game on Sunday. So I predict that Washington is going to win this game. I think it's going to be a pretty dominant game for Washington. But if they're going to dominate this game and win this game, who do you think is going to be either side of the ball, the MVP, kind of the standout guy to kind of push Washington towards a win?
I'm not going to say Chase Young because I know you guys are like, oh, it's got to be Chase Young. I have to pick one individual?
Either side of the ball. You know, one or two, doesn't matter.
So if I had to pick
it could be a group. It could be a whole. It could be a whole position group.
Like defensive side, out here, I'll go just one position. The defensive ends, Montez Sweat, Chase Young. On defense, definitely. And I'm gonna go with Taylor Heineke on offense.
Okay.
I mean, he's obviously a lot of relies on him. He's the general of this particular offense. And then this is a guy who is from the Atlanta area. Like, he's playing in front of his family, in front of his father passed away, but like his mom is gonna be there.
Mm-hmm.
High school coach will be there. So there's a lot of pressure on him to make sure he performs really well. So I'm gonna keep my eye out on Taylor Heineke, and then the two defensive ends, not the backups. I'm talking about Montez Sweat and Chase Young.
I love it. Now, Darren, to wrap this up, I have a two-part question for you, okay?
Okay.
So I'll ask you the second one after you answer the first. My first question to you is, are you confident that the Washington football team can turn around their season? Obviously, they're 1-2. We're not acting like they're 1-6 like they were last year or 2-7 at one point. They're 1-2, but they have a very tough schedule. Are you confident that this Washington football team can turn it around?
So I was really confident before the season started. I thought this team could win 11 games. I'm not confident right now because of the teams that they've lost to. I thought they could beat the Bills. And then when you look at the rest of the schedule, I don't care if Kansas City is losing right now. Kansas City still has Patrick Mahomes. Green Bay still has Aaron Rodgers. You know, Russell Wilson still in Seattle. That's a lot of L's, man. And then you have teams that we didn't think were going to possibly be that good. I mean, Carolina and the Raiders, they're undefeated.
Yep.
Yeah. You got to look at Denver as well, too.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying? Like, bro, like my 11 wins are now like, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So no, I want them to turn it around, and I think they will turn it around, but I don't think they will turn it around enough to where they can win a whole bunch of games and make it into the playoffs or win their division, because especially the way Dallas is playing right now.
And I would agree with that. Now, the last one I have for you, it's also a two-parter in a way. But if you had like a key to win and a key to loss, and then your actual score prediction for the game on Sunday.
So a key to win will be limit the turnovers. And that goes back to Taylor Heineke being that manager and stuff like that.
Yep.
Yeah, give me. I was actually like 3. It was like key to win and key to what was the
key
other
to
key?
What would be a key to a loss? What would they do badly, and that would basically say that they're going to lose the game if they lose in this category?
Okay, so it won't dictate the rest of the game, but let's say this is a challenge because the defense has literally been punched in the mouth the first drive of every single game this season.
Yeah.
That first drive, give me a 3 and out.
Yeah.
Give me a punt. Give me a punt.
Yeah. Yes. A punt. Don't give me that 3rd and 22, and next you know it's first down Atlanta Falcons.
Right.
Yeah.
Like so I'm gonna go with that first drive, the tone setter. Give me a 3 and out. Give me a punt. And then my score prediction, I do have Washington winning this game. They better win this damn game. I have 20. I have 24-13.
I love that prediction, Darren.
Love
and
that.
I can't thank you enough for joining us. I know you're down in Atlanta right now. You're going to go see the game on Sunday. I hope you have a great time. I hope you represent for us. And before you go, if you just want to plug your stuff in, just in case anybody watching doesn't know who you are.
Obviously, Darren Haynes. You can catch me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Black Planet if you still have it, MySpace. What else is there? Yahoo Instant Messenger. See, I know you like that, Mike.
That's funny. Yeah, that's funny.
But it's at Darren M Haynes, Darren M as in Matthew Haynes. You can check me on all those social media platforms, or just watch me on Channel 9, WSA 9. Holding it down all the time. Love my sports department. Of course, we won a bunch of Emmys. So we're trying to do our thing, continue to do our thing. So I appreciate you guys for having me. It was fun.
Of course. Thank you so much for coming on with us, Darren. I wish you the best of luck. Hopefully I can get you on in the future. I absolutely love this, sir.
Absolutely.
All right, Darren. You have
All
a good
right, buddy.
night,
Appreciate
sir.
it, man. Have a good one.
All right, everybody. We just spoke with the Darren Haynes. That was fantastic. The guy is just excellent.
Hey, that's why he's on WSA 9, because he's the man. He's on point.
Dude, seriously, and I listened to a couple of his interviews, and I'm really excited for that one with Chase Young. I feel like that's going to be awesome.
Yeah, that looks
But
like a
before
good
we
one,
go any further, I wanted to say the Burgundy Zone is part of the Listen Frederick, a curated network of local podcasts produced in and focused in on the Frederick area. Along with highlighting local talent, Listen Frederick hopes to bring local stories, voices, and personalities together to create a podcast community. Listen Frederick is part of the Manning Media family, home of Key 103 and 106.9 The Eagle. You can check out more about us and other shows on the network at www.listenfrederick.com. Now, Hall, the first thing we got to get into is some of these fan questions before we are joined by our second guest, and we're going to have Todd Wright joining us in here because obviously Reed is not here, and his work has been kind of getting and mingling in between and gelling, kind of in a bad situation right now. So if you're wondering where Reed is, he's not lost. He's coming back. Don't worry. In due time, we're figuring it out, but work is getting in the way.
He wanted to come back once we got a win finally. He wanted to make his return on a triumphant return.
A triumphant return, absolutely. So I wanted to ask you Colonel's question, and the Colonel wants to know, what do we need to do on both sides of the ball to create better opportunities, i.e. more blitz packages, more tight end packages, etc.?
I will agree with the blitz packages, but I feel like this is another one of those games where Del Rio is going to come out with his normal game plan, normal scheme, and kind of try to get pressure with the front four. I feel like this is, again, we just talked about with Darren Haynes. This is kind of, again, they're probably looking at us like this is a get-right game because the defense has been putrid. Right. But with that offensive line getting shuffled around, they have rookies starting, second, third-string guys starting right now. I feel like this is one of those get-right games for the defensive line to kind of assert their dominance, kind of show the rest of the league, hey, we're still the same guys from last year. But even better, we're more improved. We're back focused again. So I feel like the key on the defensive side is to get pressure on Matt Ryan, obviously, push the pocket in, and create interceptions and turnovers. Or, again, can we please at least just force a punt? That'd be cool. But on the offensive side of the ball, I will go with, even though I know Antonio Gibson is questionable, if he does play, if it's McKissick and Patterson, I feel like establishing the run and getting these guys involved in the passing game out the backfield is going to be huge. And obviously Curtis Samuel coming back. I feel like his speed on the field is going to kind of stretch the offense out,
Yeah.
be able to stretch the field a little bit. And again, at the end of the day, a guy like Curtis Samuel with his speed, he's going to demand a little bit of coverage, over top coverage. So maybe that'll open up the running lanes for some of the running backs.
Stop talking. That's Colonel's next question.
Oh shit. Sorry.
It's okay. No, it's fine. One thing I wanted to say, I went through and looked at the PFF scores. The right guard for the Atlanta Falcons is actually rated third best in the league right now by PFF. Chris Lindstrom, 82.4 overall, a 75-point pass block grade, and an 80-point run block grade. Left tackles Jake Matthews with a 63.7 grade. Jalen Mayfield, you know him from Michigan, a Michigan boy, at left guard for them with a 35.9.
Horrible.
Their center is Matt Hennessy. I believe he's from Indiana or Arkansas, one of those.
Indiana, yeah. Indiana.
A 61.4 grade. And then I told you about Chris Lindstrom, the right tackle, 54.7 being Caleb McCary. They are bottom in the league at passing defense. So what I need them to have interior pressure up the middle because Matt Ryan is very good. He's kind of like Tom Brady with like the pocket awareness where he knows where to go inside the pocket. So if you give him that step, he's going to take that step. You give him right, he's going to go right or left. Take away that middle so he can't step into that ball. Already, I think Matt Ryan's throws are kind of off like they haven't been before. You get that interior pressure in his face. Do not allow him to step into that throw. I think we're going to have a couple picks come Sunday, and that's going to really turn the tide of the game. Give Taylor Heinicke more of a chance to get in this game. And then with the Falcons, dude, they're fast, man. I mean, they play with like their hair's on fire, at least for the first quarter or so until they get tired. But they are like points per game is 94 right now. Is what the points that they've given up. Just around the point where we are. So look, you can say we all know how bad the defense has been playing, but like we are bad with that point. They are just bad. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, they need to run the ball heavily. I truly do believe that. They're going to need to run the ball heavily, use Curtis Samuel, allow him to take the eyes away of the linebackers, get them out of position, make them think. And if Curtis Samuel's 100%, he should hit the ground running, dude, and that's going to pay dividends for them. And like I just said, Curtle's next question was Curtis Samuel, and he wanted to know his surprise return this weekend. What kind of game might he have?
See, I feel like I'm of the belief where if they're gonna say he's a full go on Sunday, I don't think they're gonna like give him 7, 8, 9, 10 plus touches, but I do think that he's gonna be active in a lot of like pre-snap motion stuff, a lot of jet sweep stuff. They might get him in the run game. Who knows? Especially if Antonio Gibson is out for this game, they're gonna get him after in the run game. But I definitely think that it's gonna be a lot of. Even though I don't want to see a lot of this, I want to see a kind of stretch the field a little bit. I think it's going to be a lot of quick game, a lot of get the ball out, get him in space, get him kind of like I said, in space and kind of use his speed to his advantage against this defense who I'm pretty sure their secondary is like bottom 3, bottom 5 in the league right now.
Yeah,
as far as all the ratings. Yeah,
their corners right now, Fabian Moreau with a 52-point grade, A.J. Terrell with a 62.6, Clemson guy from last year. Yeah. There are safeties, Daron Harmon, 65.7, and Eric Harris with a 62.4. Look, you can look at our secondary and say the same exact thing. You know what I mean? I get it 100%. Just wanted to give you guys a look into what they're bringing.
Exactly. And the thing about our secondary is we have proven guys that have made plays in this league before. These are a bunch of guys who, everyone knows Fabian Moreau. He makes plays here and there, but let's be honest, he's not like a top tier, top 15 type of guy. And a guy, like you said, A.J. Terrell, second-year guy, he's kind of struggling a little bit still as well. So I definitely think, like I said, screen game, a lot of pre-snap motion stuff to, like you said, kind of get the linebackers looking one way, run the ball the opposite way. And I think they're going to get him involved in the jet sweep stuff. I'm guessing maybe 5, at the maximum 6 touches against Atlanta on Sunday.
What kind of game he'll have? I think that he'll have north of 40 yards. I put that on Twitter earlier today. I do think that he is going to be utilized, but it's going to be more of like what you had talked about, the pre-snap motion, just taking the eyes away of the defenders. Because I feel like the real big emphasis for Curtis Samuel is the intermediary to middle of the field type of stuff that he's going to be running. Last year at Carolina as a receiver, that's where he really his career resurgence happened because he was more running those routes in the middle of the field, getting those hard-nosed catches and everything. if he does that, that makes Terry's job easier. And that's what I think is really going to help this offense, because now Terry doesn't have to be literally the only and everything on that wide receiving core, besides Logan Thomas, of course. But that's going to really open up things for Terry. So I think Curtis is going to be utilized, but it's going to be short yardage, and it's going to force the defense to respect close, and then we can hit them deep with a Terry ball or Logan, something along those lines. Now, the next question that we have is, sorry, I wrote these down. They're back here. My apologies. From Tony Shivers. Happy birthday, by the way, Tony.
Yeah, happy birthday,
Huge
big dog.
fan of ours. That's my dude right there. He wants to know, how do you see the secondary reshuffling with St. Juste likely out with his concussion?
Yeah, we talked about it with Darren. I think, obviously, they put it on Twitter as well. It's going to be Darren. That was not Darren. Darren was, I guess, Terry McTyer and
Torrey
Darryl
McTyer.
Roberts. Yeah, what did I say, Terry? Torrey
Yeah.
McTyer. It's going to be Torrey McTyer and Darryl Roberts. I think that, obviously, Torrey McTyer was the darling, the sweetheart of the preseason. Everyone latches on to that guy in the preseason. He made the team, he showed out, did his thing. So it's going to be his time to step up, see if he can actually kind of parlay this into a Jeremy Reeves type of thing where, hey, I'm here, I'm doing my thing, so give me some more playing time. And like I said, Darryl Roberts, a veteran in this league, guy who's been around, guy who's played the slot, play outside a little bit as well. So look for them to step up. And outside of a guy like Calvin Ridley and Kyle Pitts, I know Russell Gage is injured. I don't know if he's out or questionable at this point, but
I think he's questionable still.
yeah. So outside of Kyle Pitts and obviously Cordero Patterson out the backfield, who's had another career resurgence, those are going to be the three guys to key on. But I feel like I said, a guy like Torrey McTyer is going to step in and kind of have a Jeremy Reeves type effect on his defense and be like, I'm here. This is my time. I'm stepping up. I'm here to play. Give me some more playing time, coach.
Yeah, and dude, honestly, this makes me think that this could make maybe Cam Curl comes in on more situations in that slot to be able to cover a guy like Kyle Pitts, who they move over all over the formation as a wide receiver, as a tight end. They use him a lot all over the field, but it's not like they actually have been hitting him. Because Kyle Pitts at this far, his numbers aren't crazy good. I thought I wrote them down, but I guess I didn't. It's whatever. How do I see it happening? I think that Curl can come up, and I think Torrey McTyer he has been getting playing time the past couple weeks anyway, but he will have more of a workload here. I'm concerned about Kendall Fuller, because if Kendall's getting beat in the slot, what's going to happen on the outside? Maybe Kendall does feel more at ease outside there, but I am concerned about that, because St. Juste was starting to improve a lot, and then this concussion happened in the last game, so now
especially in man coverage.
Yeah, and so that's going to be huge in this game, to be perfectly honest with you. I could obviously see Kendall going outside. I could see Torrey coming inside, obviously. It sucks that we don't have Jimmy anymore, to be perfectly honest, because this is where Jimmy could really benefit you. But look, man, Atlanta, they like to hit the pass off of play action. And, dude, I'm telling you, if you watch Matt Ryan's film, as soon as he hits a play action, dude, his head is turned around, and he's already looking in the middle of the field. That's going to be huge, because guess who's over there? It's going to be John Bostic over there.
No, John Bostic, yeah. I was saying about offense today. But, I think another key is going to be Bobby McCain. Obviously, that's a guy that can play safety. He can play the slot as well. So, hopefully, a guy like Bobby McCain kind of step in, kind of play that hybrid thing and do his thing.
Absolutely. Now, if you guys are not watching on YouTube, we are now joined by two guests. The first one being HogFarmer Keith, my man. Thank you so much for joining us again, Keith.
Hey, Keith.
Missed you, buddy. Where's the wrestling mask, dude?
You know what? It's funny that you mentioned that. I actually was going to put that on, but then I'm like, what the hell am I going to do at this point with it?
And then we're also joined by our honorary fourth member, Mr. Todd Wright. Todd, how are you doing tonight, brother?
I'm good, boys. Good to see you guys.
Yes,
Yeah,
and
man, good to have you back on.
We had just answered these two, Hall and I, so I'll bounce this off of you, Keith, first. I want to go with you because this is Tony Shivers' question. How do you see the secondary reshuffling with Benjamin St. Juste being out with a concussion?
I have no answers, to be honest. I mean, do we have any answers for this defense? Is that
As of right now, the defense is giving up 30.7 yards per game. Their third down percentage is 58.7. Their average passing given up per game is 307. Average rushing per game is 125.
I mean,
To
the
your
only
point,
thing I
Keith.
can say is we're doing something different. I mean, we're doing something different than what it was before. I mean, I don't have any answers, man. I don't know. I mean, I honestly could say that none of us saw this coming. So
That's
where do we go?
That's a very good point. What about you, Todd? You know, can you give me some optimism here? How can the secondary do better without Benjamin St-Juste?
You're legitimately asking for optimism right now, huh?
Yes.
It's a tough time to do that.
Yeah, it is.
It's a tough time to be a Washington fan. I mean,
It is. You know, if they can just get some pressure up front, I know we're talking about the secondary, but if we can get pressure up front, if we can do something and maybe drop a linebacker in and bring some extra pressure, then the secondary has a little bit of the help. Like maybe that's what it is that's missing. Like St. Jude being out is it sucks. Like there's not a whole lot to really look forward to.
And you're right, because it is the chicken or the egg argument. Like, could the defensive line getting pressure, would that help the secondary with holding
100%.
the wide receivers and how much time they get the ball out of their hands, to your point? Without a doubt, I think you're right about that.
another thing I think that's going to help, and obviously wouldn't like to take advice from Cowboys, especially former Cowboys players, but the dude's a Hall of Fame player, the playmaker Michael Irvin. He's even said, he was on 106 the other day. He's said, and other numerous people have already said this, but the cornerbacks are already lined up 5-6 yards off the receiver from the start of the snap. That's an easy 5-6 yard out route every single time. That's gimme plays. He wants to see the corners press up on the receivers, kind of jam them at the line, give the defensive line that half a second, maybe an extra second more to get to the quarterback. I think that'll help out as well.
Yeah. And now
Blitz
too, yeah.
Blitz.
Gotta do something right.
Show
Do
different
something.
packages. Do something other than zone. I mean, it's not working. I'm gonna assume that zone was chosen because Ron Rivera or Del Rio thinks that was the best chances for these linebackers. I mean, that's just really what's going on in my head. I have no idea if that's the case, but we need to create confusion. That defense needs to confuse.
Thank you.
I mean, again, I have no idea about football. I'm an idiot, right?
We are all idiots here.
That's feel you.
Yeah, but don't cut yourself short. I'm legit stupid. If you tell me hey Keith, what's a 3-4, 4-3, what's a zone, what's a dime nickel? I'm I don't know, man. I just pick anything on Madden, right? So, but it doesn't take a smart genius individual to know that if you can create confusion and then your defensive front is legitimately creating not just pressure, but sacks to me, everyone's oh, sacks. We're not going to get 10 sacks a game. Okay. It's just legitimate. Just collapse the pocket, make the quarterback make quicker decisions. Don't let them have time to think. They've been thinking all day on us for the first 3 weeks.
Get your hands up.
My man's back there. My man's can be back there for 10 seconds, doesn't get touched because Chase Young's too busy running right past him, right? Got all day to think about what he can do. And then, of course, they're carving, the linebacker core because they know that is the major weakness.
Yep.
So let's just do something. Blitz. Greg Williams, this shit is what I say. All game long. Just all game long. Put the pressure.
Love it. Absolutely love it. Now, the next question from Tony has for us, and Todd, I'll go with you first here.
Right.
He wants to know, do you see Terry dusting his old teammate Fabian Moreau?
Yeah, Moreau was there for 1 year.
Was he?
2 years.
Yeah, he was 2 years ago. You're right.
I see Terry dusting everybody. He may not just burn everybody on every play, but he's going to do every little thing he can to get that separation, to get that space, to be able to make those plays that Terry does. He doesn't get the respect he deserves, but he's a top receiver in this league. And if we don't back up a Brinks truck, we're going to end up getting punished because of it. But that's another time for another topic.
Now, Keith, with Curtis Samuel's return, do you think that this is going to pay dividends for Terry McLaurin? Like Tony's asking, do you think that he's going to have the ability to go deep? Because the big question is Taylor Heineke throwing the ball deep? So do you see this happening with Terry McLaurin being able to dust Fabian?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously Curtis Samuel adds another element that we haven't seen yet. And I think that that's definitely going to help the passing game. But at this point, I'm going to be real careful with what I say because we haven't seen him out on the field yet.
Yeah.
You know, we haven't seen what he can actually produce. And our fan base tends to really hype players maybe a little more than
we don't.
That never
I
happened.
know.
Not
Fan
here.
base? No.
Not at
Yeah.
all.
Josh Doctson and Terrell
Exactly.
Pryor were legit.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Jason Campbell's in the Hall of Fame.
Right.
Malcolm Kelly was a beast.
Right.
And where's Grant at? Is he still on the practice squad? So I guess that's just what it boils down to is like, I don't want to hear about how good this kid is. I want to see him out on the field at this point. I want to see it translate. I mean, we're in week 4 now. Enough with this training camp talk. I want to see what this guy can do. But again, too, we have to temper our expectations because I do believe that he's going to be limited snaps. Obviously. So, you know, this ain't going to be the breakout game for Samuel by any means, but I do think that it could create more potential for McLaurin, obviously.
I'm telling you, dude, on Twitter, whenever I watch those live press conferences, it always cracks me up because I think somebody had asked Chase Young about what they're going to do this weekend. He's like, you know, we're going to go in, we're going to do everything we can, we're going to make sure of everything. And somebody commented and was like, you know, actions speak louder than words. But like, dude, it's Thursday. The game's on Sunday. He was asked a question. How do you want him to answer it? You know, you want him to tell him it's not going to go well? Ridiculous.
Go tackle the reporter. What are you expecting him to do at that moment?
Exactly. Like, now, Hall, let me ask you, with Fabian Moreau, like we kind of typically know how he plays, and corners leave here and go and blossom in other areas. Do you think that Fabian is going to be I'm not going to say executed. Well, he's going to have a circle around him. They're going to target him with Terry.
Is he their number 1 cornerback?
AJ Terrell's on the other side, so either way.
Either way, whoever Moreau or Terrell.
The LeBron meme with the cigarette don't matter.
Exactly, don't even matter because this should be literally just keep feeding them type of game. I just feel like this is going to be another game where kind of like the Giants game, give him 8, 9, 10 plus targets, give Logan Thomas a bunch of targets, and I definitely think that even if Curtis Samuel's not a huge factor as far as like yardage and like catches, reception, touches like that, I just feel like the simple fact of him being on the field, that's going to open up that 10 to 20 yard kind of gap in the field for Terry to just do all the work. And we already know Terry's a beast yards after catch. So if he gets the ball in his hands and a little bit of space, I can see him taking to the house 70 plus yards.
I'm gonna call decoy with Samuel.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Tony, I will say I do think Terry he's going to do this against a lot of corners. Look, he played Tre'Davious White very, very well, but the thing is, it's not about Terry getting the burn. It's about getting the ball to Terry. And that's the biggest concern. Taylor Heineke at this point is one of the lower end of the spectrum of quarterbacks throwing the deep ball. That's got to get better. And to your point, Keith, having Curtis Samuel back is going to help that a lot. Now, our next question is from Scott Hartley in the UK. Oi! Who he just knew that Keith and Todd were going to be on this pod. And so he was like, let me ask some awesome questions for these guys. So, Todd, let me start this one with you.
Oh, God.
Would you rather have a Cole Holcomb mullet haircut or a ponytail?
All right, as a guy who can't really grow hair anymore, I'm going with a ponytail. Let me get some hair. This is bad.
That's bad. What about you, Keith?
Yeah, I would have to go with the Cole Holcomb mullet, but man, you gotta back that mullet. You gotta back that mullet up though. Like
that's the Pennsylvania side of Keith right there. The mullet.
Absolutely.
Western Pennsylvania side.
Right, dude. I'm going mullet too there, Keith. Yeah. The reason for this, Scott, is because business in the front, party in the back, baby. That's all I'm about.
Hey, I'm with my man Todd on this one. Just getting skimp up here, man. I need that. I need them long locks. I need that ponytail life, man. Like,
I you know what? If I could grow it, I'd be braiding it, dyeing it.
I'll do it. I'd show it.
Yeah,
if I could grow it, I would show it.
You know what my uncle always says, because he's bald, just like I am. He's going bald. He says, he says, grass don't grow on a busy street. And you're right, sir.
This man Gene has a saying for everything, I swear.
He does. I could not say his jokes on here because we would be canceled tomorrow.
We'd be canceled literally within the show, within the hour.
Right. And now Scott's last question for us, and Keith, obviously I'm going to start this one with you because we kind of had a discussion on this earlier and yesterday. He wants to know, what are your thoughts on the Tua rumors? The Tua Tagovailoa. There was a rumor from a Miami reporter, a beat reporter or a radio host who has connections with a team that was saying Deshaun Watson to Miami for a bunch of picks was in the works, was going to happen, and that Washington was going to trade for Tua. So everyone doesn't know if this is legit or not. What do you think, Keith?
Yeah, I'm not buying what's trying to be sold here. It doesn't make any sense to me. Why would we try to acquire? Well, take away Tua's playing career, which hasn't been much.
Yeah.
Why would we trade for an injured player? Why would we add another injury prone? Why do we need all this fragility on our roster? If you were to break down the trade, and if he wasn't injured, giving up a 2 for him is quite intriguing. I will say that. But again, what has he shown to even deserve a 12? He hasn't shown anything yet. So therefore, my confidence level that this guy could be the guy, because I would have to say, if you're willing to give up a 2, you're basically telling me that there's a high possibility that he could be the next franchise quarterback, right? Is the way I'm thinking logically. So I don't see it. It's not there. He hasn't shown that he can be. So why am I giving up a 2 for this is the way I see it. And again, all he's shown so far is that he can't stay healthy. And it just doesn't make sense to trade for a guy who isn't healthy. We have a problem with this.
And those are all great points, Keith. I just wanted to say, because Scott, kind of the end of the question was, is this gossip or is this is there actual interest?
You want a real answer on that?
Yeah, we both know it's gossip.
Yeah, 100%. Listen, I don't claim to be anything more than just an old 42-year-old man bringing a Blue Moon as a prop because I actually don't drink beer. But you have to convince people that you know football, and the only way that you can do that is if you drink beer, right? So right, that's the rumor that's floating around. But in all reality, my old ass is drinking coffee. So
Bruce Allen had the right idea, but it didn't translate.
Yeah, they fired that guy too. Anyways, again, I'm just an old man on a couch. I don't know anything, but what I do know is when I was kicking up mud to certain people that I believe would have some kind of insight to this particular rumor, I got a laughing emoji, and I'll just, I'll leave it at that. And to me, that's the way that I'm going to take it. Now, maybe that laughing emoji wouldn't be there if he wasn't injured, because again, I don't think it's a horrible decision to try a 2 for him, because you really don't know what you have, and he's young, so there is that plus. But right now, it's nothing.
Look, and I know, before you go, Todd or Hall, I just had to explain myself. I know what I was saying on Twitter, and I was interested in the Tua saga, and I want to give my mindset on this because I'm looking at this for this season and possibly the future. Right now, what we have on the roster is Taylor Heinicke and Kyle Allen. Both quarterbacks are injury prone. We don't know if Ryan Fitzpatrick is going to return. I am petrified of if something were to happen to Taylor. What would happen at that point? Obviously, we could bring in Cam Newton for very, very cheap and get it done. But when I'm looking at stocks and look at if you were to go buy a used car, you look for the best price possible. You're looking for the right scenario where you're getting great value for a car that everyone probably wouldn't go get, but is kind of has the potential to be there. And that's kind of how I see Tua, because he's played terribly, hasn't played well, hasn't progressed. He's been injured. He's on cracked ribs, so he's already injured right now. The reason why it's enticing is because I think that value can drop. I think that can drop to a third, to a fourth. And that way, that is huge dividends, because my thought process is if Miami trades for Deshaun Watson, at that point, Tua is expendable. He's not worth anything to them. So they can get him, leave him, and let him go for nothing, because nobody's really going to be starving for him. And that's where my kind of thought process is for very, very cheap, you could bring in a guy who could possibly have the potential, and given with the scenario that they're in right now, with no future ahead of us, if we could get it a third or a fourth for Tua, I think that's a situation where it would make your roster better for the rest of the season. What do you think, Todd?
You just compared that man to a 2004 Honda Civic. Can we just throw that out there? That's what you just called him.
Yeah. That's exactly what I called him.
I mean, realistically, if we take it in a vacuum, the injuries are there, but let's ignore it. In a vacuum, he's a young quarterback. He came from Alabama. He plays a pro style. He learned it He played under the best. He played in high pressure situations. In a vacuum, that alone is worth a second round pick. Now, injuries and value to the Dolphins. Well, if you're going to go out and get Watson, no, I'm not giving you a second. You've just cut the value on
Right.
Tua completely. Sure. Would I want him for a third? Hell yeah. We've wasted picks in the first 3 rounds before. Why not just take Tua and try? But what we don't really need, especially here,
is a quarterback controversy.
not even a quarterback controversy, an injury-prone quarterback. Injury-prone is an issue already.
I will say
injury quarterbacks in this city.
I will say cracked ribs is not something that's like really like injury prone. That's just like literally a bad fucking hit. You know what I mean? Hall?
Sure, this time.
In the famous words of the great Randy Jackson, yeah, that'll be a no for me, dog. Look, I've never been I've never been the biggest Tua guy. Even when he was in college,
I wasn't a Tua guy until a week ago.
Yeah, I was like, you know what? He's a great college quarterback, kind of like a Tim Tebow, a great college quarterback, a legend in college.
Don't talk bad about Tebow. That's my man.
And that's what look. They're both great. They were both great college guys, both great left-handed college quarterbacks. But the thing is, once you get to NFL, you need that extra oomph in the arm strength. And if you're not going to have the arm strength, you need the anticipation type of throws, which obviously Taylor Heineke is pretty good at. And I just look at Tua as even with the injury thing, like Keith said, he's a left-handed, less mobile Taylor Heineke. I've always looked at Tua kind of like a high-end backup in this league, maybe a low fringe starter, and he's shown me nothing over his first 2 years of starting and playing in the NFL to kind of prove me otherwise. And to kind of couple that in with last year, I know like cracked ribs is kind of like a freak type of thing, but you got to think about going back to college, the wrist, the ankle, and then the major hip injury. And then he comes in, even his rookie year, not really knowing he even admitted this, not really knowing the playbook, kind of like not really studying. We've kind of already been through this before. We've already sang this song. So my thing is, why waste a second round pick on a guy like Tua when you can get another offensive weapon, another left tackle, another
And that brings it the whole
Package
point.
that
Though.
too.
another cornerback to kind of insert into your guy and be a starter.
And that's my whole point is because Cam Newton being there for very, very cheap, that would be the better avenue to go down rather than giving up the second. So, like, that's what I understand why he put the second in there, but I don't think that's a possibility, especially given the fact that he's cracked ribs. But that being said,
also on top of that, you got to think if we get him before the trade deadline, all right, cool. We get him for this year. He's already going into his 3rd year next year, so he's already coming up on another contract extension. Even if he is that guy, how are you going to pay that guy and then the rest of the guys on defense, Terry McLaurin, Montez Sweat, Chase Young? I just think that they need to literally start from scratch, draft their young rookie quarterback, and literally just that's the NFL model nowadays.
Yeah,
Get the young guy, be good enough, take it from there.
Yes, I wholeheartedly agree with you. I just wanted to say my whole thought process the entire time with Tua was that he would not start anywhere close into the time frame. He could sit there and be there just in case as he rehabs and gets better. But also, it also makes sense with the Sam Cosmi pick because Sam Cosmi, you could say, arguably right now is our best lineman. And with Tua being a left-handed quarterback, Sam Cosmi essentially would be his blind side, which kind of
that is true.
Wouldn't make sense to me. And that's why my mind was kind of clicking. But like me and Keith talked about, we both know this is just gossip. It means nothing. There is no reason that people should be getting angry about this. It's not going to happen. So many things have to go right for the Washington football team to be able to have that happen, and they would have to do it. I think Cam Newton would be here before Tua.
If they're going to trade for Deshaun Watson, you would think that Tua would go over to Houston in the trade.
Like, that's what my whole thought process was. Yeah,
you would
but
think
Davis Mills blew that up.
But you would think Davis Mills or Tua was an upgrade from Davis Mills.
I don't know at this point, to be honest.
I mean, yeah.
Keith,
sorry, Keith. Even at this point.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, too, I mean, if you really think about it, we're in a podcast world. What better way to get people to know who you are and what you're podcasting and saving information for your podcast. So then that way you can have your friend Alejandro go tell everyone on Twitter that this is what he heard.
Yeah.
You know, so again, it's just, to me, it's all marketing your brand, which, you know, I'm not hating on those folks by any means. Yeah, I'm not going to hate on that, but until I actually see it from, you know, people that are credible. I'm just not interested in it.
Yeah, and look, that's a great point. And look, I just want everyone to know I'm not on the bandwagon. I was just saying that the idea is enticing. Now, our
That'll
next
be a no for me, dog.
Yeah, next question is from Orange Crush 92, and I'll go with you with this, Todd. Do you think Washington can keep Kyle Pitts from scoring and continue his touchdown drought?
God, I want to say yes. I really want to say yes, but have we proven that we can stop anyone from doing anything? Like, honestly,
that's a good point.
Anything that anyone's wanted to do, they've been able to just carve up this defense. And I want to let him score because earlier when we were on the pod around the time of the draft, I said that he was going to go crazy. So I want to be right about that, but I don't want him to go crazy against us, obviously. Like,
but tight ends usually do.
Yeah. Oh, always.
What about you, Keith?
Yeah, what was the entire question? I have ADD.
Do you think Washington can keep Kyle Pitts out of the end zone and in his touchdown drought? He's not playing well right now.
Yeah, he's going to play well.
I agree.
Yeah, he's going to play well. I mean, if you look at the first 3 games.
One thing I will say is Atlanta's offense has 16 points per game right now is their average. Third down percentage is 33%. Their passing first downs are 35, which is less than Washington's, or their average for their defense, I will say. I do think that Washington is prepared to combat Kyle Pitts. And I think with Cam Curl and Jamin Davis faced Kyle Pitts last season, and it's relatively – he knows what they like to do with Kyle Pitts, with the long crossing routes, the deep downfield availability. Jamin knows that kind of aspect. Cam Curl did really well on an island alone versus Dallas or Zach Ertz last season and got a pick off of it. I think those two guys could be beneficial for Washington in facing Kyle Pitts. I think because Ron Rivera said you have to prepare for Kyle playing both positions at tight end and wide receiver. And I think that that's what they're kind of doing here. Is that they're going to say if he goes out wide, we're going to leave our corner on him because we're acting like he's a wide receiver. And then if he comes to tight end, we're going to have a big guy on him, like, let's say, a Jamin Davis. Hopefully it's not John Bostic. But what about you, Hall?
Can they keep up the scoreless touchdown streak? Yeah, I could definitely see them doing that. But will they is a whole nother story. And with that being said, if you go back to college, obviously Jamin Davis played at Kentucky, Kyle Pitts played at Florida. So Jamin Davis is kind of familiar with Kyle Pitts. He had a pretty good pass breakup with him. He ran with them as far as like coverage room wise. So
he did pretty well.
That's a positive. Yeah, that's a positive for Washington. But with that being said, if you're a due theory type of person, I mean, he's due for a huge game eventually at some point. Why not against Washington with one of the worst linebacking cores in the league? I'm not going to say the worst safety play in the league, but because Cam Curl is like a top 10 to 12 safety in the league right now. But I just think that I'm not going to say he's going to have huge yardage against us, but I wouldn't be surprised if he does. Yeah. But I do think he'll score like a goal line touchdown, like a red zone touchdown, something like that, and a mismatch between like William Jackson or something like that. But I think that they'll limit him. He won't go off. I don't think he's going to go off. I don't think it's going to be due theory. He's going to go crazy, but I think he'll score at least one touchdown.
Yeah, well, that would make sense. But I wanted to give you guys the stats of Atlanta so far. Calvin Ridley is the leading receiver, 20 receptions, 175 yards, 1 touchdown on the season on 29 targets. Cordero Patterson, 13 receptions, 153 yards with 1 touchdown on 16 targets. Kyle Pitts, 11 receptions, 139 yards, no touchdowns on 17 targets. That's their offense. After that, there's a drastic drop-off. Those are the guys you got to circle. Those are the guys that you have to worry about if you're Washington, without a freaking doubt. Now, Orange Crush's next question is, do you guys know where I can watch old film? What can he do? He's trying to watch like old school because I think Game Pass only goes back 9 years. And he says he's been trying to go on YouTube, trying to find old school Washington film. And to be honest, I have no idea, Orange Crush. If you find that out, can you let me know? I'm trying to go watch that.
Yeah, couldn't tell you, honestly. I was going to say YouTube, maybe try all 22 YouTube type of something like that. But, I mean, even then.
That doesn't exist.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. So, like you said, if you find it, please let me know because I'd love to see it.
Yeah, and it's probably a good thought process for the NFL to probably upload those, to have those for people, and especially for Washington fans that want to live back and watch good Washington football. You can go back to 91 and watch that go down. Now, our next question is from Meese21, our guy Brandon Reinbold. Obviously, Keith, I want to go with you with this one first. Curls has been averaging more snaps every single game, and he has slowly kind of overtaken Landon Collins. Do you think that trend is going to continue?
Yes, it has to.
Has to.
He's the best player in the secondary, in my opinion.
I've seen guys on Twitter saying that he's like one of the worst performing ones and like missing assignments and stuff. I haven't seen that at all.
He's been the bright spot.
Yeah, that's
what
what I
football
thought.
are they watching? Because Cam Curl's a guy that's around the ball literally almost every single play. He's never a guy that's running with his hands up like, oh, what's going on? What happened? What happened? So he's never missing a tackle. He's always wrapping up with his arms and his hands. He's never going in there just a shoulder, like some guys. Not going to put any names out there, but I'm just saying, like Cam Curl, even if you look at PFF, he's like a top 10, top 12 type of guy. But if you watch the games, the dude flashes all over the screen. So
yeah,
miss me with that Curl slander.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I love me some Cam Curl, dude. But that's going to wrap us up for all of the questions, guys. I can't thank you enough. Before I get out of here and before we get out of here, we're going to give you our predictions for the game. And I wanted to put this in there. Atlanta's our passing defense has given up 50 first downs through passing. Just strictly passing, dude. In 3 games, 50.
That's horrible.
That is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
Unimaginable.
It really is. Look, what the heck happened, dude? Now, so Todd, I want to go with you. Let's go with our predictions here. So give me your prediction for this game on Sunday. Tell me you're optimistic, the score prediction, and then your MVP.
I am optimistic. I am. I know I sound pessimistic everything I said, so I'm gonna completely erase all of that with my final score here. I'm gonna judge it off the fact that right now Washington's a 1.5 point favorite, and I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that the game's actually in Atlanta. So I'm gonna say that we're gonna win by, I don't know, maybe we'll put up points. Maybe it's 21-28. Maybe it'll hit the over. We'll beat the spread for the first time in like 5 games or something like that. And MVP of the game, let's go someone random. Let's go Jarrett Patterson gets in, scrambles around for 2. You know what? Antonio Gibson's been lost in the shuffle a little bit. Dude. I'm not feeling like that's definitely going to be what happens, but let's get crazy with it. Let's go.
Let's get crazy with it. What are your
have the time to do it?
What are your predictions, Keith?
Well, I'm going to go 31-24 Washington.
Woo! You had me worried there for a second.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely
taking
Washington on this one.
Where's he going with this?
I thought he was about to troll.
No. Not on this show. This is a professional show, fellas. Listen, I keep all that to Twitter. But no, 31-24. And I don't know. I was even thinking 31-17 in my head. So I'm going to go with that gut. Listen, this game right here is an urgency game. I think the players know that. The coaches know that. I think what they've lacked in all 3 games is sense of urgency. So now they have it. They also understand what's coming to them in the next 2 weeks too. Yeah. I mean, really the whole schedule. But if we were just focusing short term, I mean, knowing that you after you're done with Atlanta, that you got to go and play the Saints and the Chiefs, that's a problem. So there's going to be a sense of urgency with this game, which is why I think that we're actually going to do well. You ran the numbers on Atlanta, so I don't have to go through that on my long-winded answer here. I tend to do that, but you ran through the numbers. Their offense is putrid. So I actually think we're going to bounce back. I know that the fans are going to turn around on Monday and say, well, it was against the Falcons. Who cares? A win is a win in the book. I don't really care how we get it. Right. Yep. And we need to turn it around. We need some momentum going into these next 2 other games, not really to look ahead, but as fans, we want to look ahead because we're in trouble.
Yeah. Look, for me, my prediction is going to be 27-20. I do think the Washington football team is going to come away with the victory. Biggest point that is for me in this game, my biggest key is not turnovers, not anything like that. It's third downs. Third downs. Keep them long for their offense. Keep us short for our offense because third downs is so bad right now. Our defense is giving up at a 58.7 clip right now for the opposing offenses. This is an offense for Atlanta that's averaging 16 points a game, and their third down percentage is 33%. Hopefully, we could get them off the field. Hopefully, we can get a punt on the first drive of the field, maybe even a field goal if we're lucky to stop a touchdown. We cannot continue to open up these games 7-0. That it's not formidable. Third downs have to be the area of concern. So I think 27-20, the Washington football team wins, and I think Taylor Heinicke is going to be the MVP with 2 touchdowns passing and 1 running.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up the third downs because on offense, we're converting 28% of third downs, which is 32nd in the league, I want to say, maybe 31st, somewhere around there. And like you said, defense, we're giving up 58% of the third downs. So if we can just flip that around and hold them to like 28% on third down, and we can at minimum convert 58% of our third downs in this game, I think that's going to be a huge key. I think that, even though I said this last week, no evidence again to support this because what did they show me up to this point? I think this is a get right game for the defense. I think that it's kind of similar to the Eagles game, the first game of the season last year. I'm not going to go out there and say 6 sacks, but I think they're going to get over 2.5 sacks. I'll go 3 sacks plus. And I think that the offense is going to – I think Taylor Heinicke going back to Atlanta, he's going to show up for his hometown. I think that, like you said, he's going to put up 3 total touchdowns, whether it be passing or rushing, either way you want to split it. And I got Washington winning this game, which might be the kiss of death because we all picked him to win. I got Washington winning this game 30-20. I got him winning by 10 points. And I'll go my MVP will be a split between Terry and Logan Thomas. I think they both get in the end zone once each. And I think they both have 5+ catches.
Yes. And one last thing before I get out of here, I just wanted to say Atlanta's offense only has 12 rushing first downs on the season. We, as a Washington football team, have 22. We have 39 passing first downs. They have 35 passing touchdowns. Going to show you that they're not pass heavy in that sense, but their running the ball is not where it should be, that we are accustomed to with Atlanta. Generally, they're a very good running with football team. They haven't been thus far with Mike Davis. So really harp on that passing, and hopefully that means that Chase Young and the boys can pin their ears back and get after Matt Ryan relentlessly. All right, everybody, thank you so much for watching this episode. I can't thank you guys enough for coming in and watching the entire episode. You guys are champions. And then, Keith, I know you guys recorded earlier. Can't thank you enough for coming on here, spending more time talking about the Washington football team. Congratulations on being the hog farmer. You know, you worked your butt off grilling those hot dogs. You guys have a new Halloween event coming up. I would like for you to kind of educate us on what that is about.
Yeah, basically what we decided was for the kids that, we're speaking with and their families now is obviously not all of them can go trick-or-treating. So we're trying to put something together where we can, get some goodie bags with some candy in it and some toys and, actually send it, to these kids and, kind of give them a smile, let them know that we're there. Halloween is probably one of the funnest times for kids. And, unfortunately, the situation, not all of them can go. So we want to do what we can to at least, try to put a smile. So if anyone's interested in donating and helping towards that, you can just head over to HogFarmersCharity.org and, your donations are definitely much appreciated. Also, real quick, want to give a huge shout out to this entire fan base, especially on Twitter. You guys really rock it and you support the Hog Farmers. Even before I became, a part of the group, you guys really take care of those guys. They're huge fans, but at the end of the day, I see the behind the scenes stuff, man. They're hard workers and super happy to be a part of the team. And one last thing, Mike, love you, brother. I know you're going through, a rough week, but, as a friend, we're all here for you, man. Just lean on us, when you need to, don't be afraid, but been thinking about you. Much love from my family to yours, brother.
Appreciate
of course.
that, man.
And obviously, I put this on Twitter yesterday that this episode is going to be dedicated to Hall's father who passed away a couple days ago. So we wanted to just let Hall know that we wanted to have Hall know that there's a lot of people that care about him. And just well wishes to his family. I know his family very, very well, his brothers and his mom. And, it's such a crappy situation. You hate to see it. Just want to know you're not alone on this, brother.
Yeah, we got you.
Yeah, appreciate everybody. Like I said before, I said it on Twitter, but I appreciate everyone reaching out. You're the best to really hit me right here. I appreciate everything. And before I sign off, I know you're going to do the sign offs, but one time for the home team. Let's go Terps.
Hey, yeah, the big game tonight. And then, of course, thank you so much for Todd on late notice being able to join us because Reed's work is screwing with him and everything. Can't thank you enough, brother. Being our 4th honorary member, Mr. Todd Wright. Before you get out of here, you guys want to plug your Twitter handles?
Sure. It's TMW1102. Always loved coming on last moment. So,
Yes.
I appreciate that.
If you guys don't know Todd, his backstory, he works for FedEx Field. So just to give you some backstory, Todd is a huge
I don't work for
fan.
FedEx Field. I work for the team.
Oh, he works for the team at FedEx Field. God, whatever. Dude. Game days, whatever. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Kyle.
I am Hall.
And I just wanted a special birthday shout out to Tony again. You're the best fan in the world, dude. You support all of the podcasts around here.
Yes, sir.
Washington football team fan base is better because of you, Tony. I hope you had a great birthday and to many more, sir. All right, everybody. We will see you guys on Monday. Hopefully, after a W, we're back to 2-2. Back to even.
DMV dubs.
Absolutely. All right, everybody. We'll see you next time. Washington football. Woo! Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Kyle. I just wanted to say thank you so much for watching. And if you liked what you saw, make sure you hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. That way you get notified when anything new is uploaded to the channel. Also, we just launched theburgundyzone.com. You can go there and find all of our latest news, articles, and the latest episodes that are uploaded. Again, we also have the Discord chat server, where all of our VIP folks are in, like Andy Burrows, Scott Hartley, Sergio Martin is in there as well. Don't miss out on the Discord chat server. Go and check that out. Until next time, everybody, Washington football. Woo!